Alright everybody, I should be live. Let's make sure that's actually the case over on Rumble. We will unpause and repause, as we always have to do, of course. Yes, there's actually a funny meme that I wanted to talk about first today. This is not meaningful news, it's just really, really funny. Some leftoid Ukrainian sympathizer apparently believes that I'm supporting Jeffrey Epstein and Russia or something like that. So, link is in the description. I don't even know what half of the stuff on here refers to, honestly. I just thought it was really funny. Let's give credit where credit is due. At the very least, it's a funny meme. It's kind of self-deprecating. Check this out. New poll by RT. Trump is up by 70 points. Not something that I've ever mentioned, my friend. He simply can't publish the list. It's 4D chess, man. You have to understand. He's preparing literally right now to sign the Epstein Files Act, actually, as we speak. Whoa, another epic anti-woke populist Stalinist was just elected in Slovenistan. I don't even exactly know what this refers to, honestly. And then there's crazy shit in the background. There's a dead cat on one side with, like, flies floating around it, and another cat that's sitting there, like, surrounded with its own shit. That much is at least slightly accurate. There are no dead cats in here, but yeah, they do occasionally decide to poop in random places. It's a little bit odd. I just thought it was funny. Top 10 anti-SGW memes 2016. Putin destroy the feminism. This is an individual that's obsessed with supporting Ukraine. That's probably why they have a Ukrainian flag in their bio. But at least, I mean, some talent was involved here. That's more we can say for most left-wing memes. I like the weed in the background, too. Epsilon Bacon. I think that means Epic Elon Bacon. I'm not 100% sure exactly what that refers to either, but yeah, it was pretty funny. I'm just mouthing off at the moment. I just thought it was funny. Hello, occult priestess. Yeah, no, in fact, I'm going to take that, I'm going to link it out, cross-platform. I know I've got my pinned comments and stuff like that, but this was really, really funny. It doesn't really make a lot of sense, but at least it's humorous. Alright, so I'm putting that over in StreamYard. I'll put it in, Rumble as well. Yeah, you gotta take a look at this fucking image and how fucking funny that is. New Wave Mordvin. So he's definitely Ukrainian sympathizer. I think that he believes that I support Russia or something like that, and apparently that I'm constantly high. This is not actually the case. No, if I was going to use weed, I would not use it before I was live streaming. I would be an evening smoker. Just saying. Plausible deniability mode. I totally don't use marijuana products or anything like that. The Wanderer, lay drunk sticks? No. I'm drinking tea, actually, at the moment, which will bring me to my sponsors. What? Vulcus, you've got some weird proclivities, my dude. Just saying. Stick an air hose up Styx's ass and watch him inflate. So deliciously plump and gassy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, okay. Danily, what race is a pirate? Pirates actually were very, very cosmopolitan early on. This was actually a problem at times, because the pirates were coming from different nations, so they didn't speak the same language. They became disorganized, and it became a problem. Jean Lafitte, actually, from New Orleans fame, he spoke 4 languages, and his partner spoke 4 more. And so, between the two of them, they were actually able to, you know, get the pirates actually organized. They realized, hey, you've got all of this loot, but you're not doing anything with it. Why don't you sell it? Let's build factories. And so they built stores and factories and stuff. They would load the goods. They would sell it. Of course, it's all black market, and they made a shit ton of money. But then they ended up helping Andrew Jackson destroy the British. Several thousand pirates were joined in the last actual Battle of the War of 1812, which, unbeknownst to them, technically took place after the war was actually over. Peace treaty had already been signed, but then they beat the fuck out of them anyway. They also sunk a bunch of ships, if I remember correctly, into the Chesapeake to make a sort of barrier against the British, and it seemed to have worked at the time. Very, very interesting. But yeah, pirates were from all over the place. Europe, the Americas, North Africa, South America, and so they generally didn't speak the same language, so you would need to have somebody aboard who was actually capable of speaking. This is why John Lafoot was so successful, because he spoke 4 languages. If I remember correctly, he spoke English, French, Portuguese, and Dutch. And I think his partner also spoke some German, as well as Arabic, if I remember correctly. And so they could, get these people together. Yeah, the shores of Tripoli. No PhD, Coyote. The Great Awakening. I'm having a good dick day. Wonderful. Yeah, I know, flick the bean a little bit, Rambo. Greetings from Arizona. Arizona's pretty cool. I'd love to see it. A lot of meteoric activity down there. Also a lot of geodes and things like that. The geography is fascinating. So we'll be getting to the Epstein files, actually. That's the main news of the day. I just wanted to talk about that meme because I thought it was funny. So we'll be talking about the Epstein files, the death of the U.S. penny. Yes, the U.S. Mint has decided they're no longer going to be minting them. This is a good decision. They've been talking about it for the better part of my lifetime. They probably were talking about it before I was even born, but I wasn't there to witness it, so I'm not 100% sure. It's been a long time since the penny actually was worth a cent. And so now it takes 4 cents to make a penny. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. No reasonable person is going to say, oh yeah, let's mint this currency. It's great. Yeah, I mean, I have to use 4 pennies to make an additional penny, but, it's all good. This does not make sense. It never made sense. They've been talking about this for a while. They also still can't mint a dollar coin, even though every other country in the world appears to be capable of doing so. The ingratitude of the well-fed. Yes, and of course you've got that famous picture of Boris Yeltsin when he visited the grocery store and he was like, ah, shit, the Americans really do have a better system. I wish we could return to that sort of system. I wish that we were flush with food that was relatively inexpensive and things like that, as opposed to starving or having to pay through the nose to actually get food in the first place. And there's that famous picture of Boris Yeltsin's like, he's looking at the freezer section. He's like, oh God, what mess have I inherited? And it's pretty funny. 40,000-year-old woolly mammoth RNA offers a peek into its last moments. Yes, RNA can actually be extracted under the proper circumstances. It's very rare, so this is an extremely intriguing specific case. RNA can be utilized to look at molecular markers, actually, that would be derived from DNA, because RNA and DNA are not the same thing. And you can actually tell if an animal, when it died, was under stress or something like that. So this mammoth appears to have been attacked, wandered off, and froze to death. And that's actually fascinating. By the way, I learned earlier today, I was researching the situation, and I learned the 1950s incident where supposedly woolly mammoth meat was actually eaten by humans. Apparently that never actually happened. It was tested. It was turtle meat. It had nothing to do with woolly mammoths, because most of the woolly mammoths that they recover are so badly decomposed, they are inedible. I mean, you could probably cook it up. It'd probably be like cardboard or something like that, but you can do that. Other scientific groups have actually impregnated lamb and other things and made literal mammoth meatballs and so forth, though. So, that's actually true. But that 1950s incident, it never actually happened. They were eating sea turtle, apparently. BW, 3 Republicans voting against censure for what's-her-name has been black-pilled me a bit. That plus failure to ram through our agenda by temporarily eliminating the filibuster has me thinking we'll lose the midterms. It's still a winnable battle. But the Republicans are going to have to work harder. And when people complain about the Republicans not working harder, I mean, come on, dude. Don't let them off the hook. They're Republicans. They need to be literally whipped into action. Otherwise, they're not going to do anything. And then our country is doomed. I don't think that we're doomed. I think that we're in a little bit of a difficult situation at the moment, but I think that it is something that we can overcome. Keeping in mind, of course, I'm not a Republican or a conservative, but I do oppose the Democratic Party. So, yeah. Mulgara, did you get my DMs yesterday about my DC escapades? I don't think that I saw them yet. I'll have to check them out later. BW, how are we supposed to do anything with so many traitors and weaklings? Well, I mean, you shove them aside and then you simply get to work, I suppose. Is it difficult? Yes. But is it doable? Is it impossible? No, it's not impossible. It's just difficult. SC Woods, yeah, properly made dollar coin and take the dollar bill out of circulation. There's nothing wrong with the dollar bill. I mean, using paper money is perfectly fine. It's just, every other country appears to have a dollar bill or a $2 bill. We're the only ones that seem incapable of making one. You got the Susan B. Anthony, you've got the Eisenhower, that was probably the most successful, but it's so large, it doesn't make any sense to carry it around unless you have a deflationary economy, so that Eisenhower dollar, you get 10 of those in your pocket, and you can buy your week's groceries. You can't really do that anymore. The closest they came in modern times is the Sacagawea dollar, actually. Yesterday I had so many beets. I had so much coleslaw. Made my own coleslaw with red cabbage, by the way. And a lot of carrots. It's delicious. The Wanderer. Tarl, if given the opportunity, would you take up the position of Supreme Dictator of the USA in order to set things right? You would have absolute power and could choose to relinquish power after. As long as it was pre-agreed upon that I would relinquish the power, I'd be willing to do that sort of job. And I wouldn't require a great deal of pay in response for this. I would trust myself with that power because I do not want to wield it at all. I would be very reluctant to lead. I wouldn't trust anyone else with it, though. Because I agree with myself, of course, in my political views, most of the time. Yes, I would, at this point, I would take the ring of power, so to speak. Because apparently, most other people are not capable of doing so. But you have to relinquish it right quick. It will corrupt you. If you end up in a position of power, it doesn't matter if your intentions are good. It doesn't matter how noble you're trying to be. Eventually, it will corrupt you. So it has to be a very, very limited basis, so to speak. Evan Reed, power doesn't corrupt, it reveals who you really are. Yes, and everyone carries an element of corruption, that's the problem. There's nobody in this world walking alive today that isn't corrupt. Everyone is. Mulgara, I was actually in the House gallery yesterday for the Epstein vote. And the debate speeches. I went to Massey's office and requested a pass to see it, and he gave me one. Super cool stuff. That's pretty cool. Cooking Inferno. Did you get my DM yesterday about the new Ken Burns documentary, The American Revolution? I watched the free first 10 minutes. It's awesome. Oh, I'll have to look that up. Yes, what you need to do is be in power long enough to change things, but not in power long enough to change yourself. That's basically all you have to do. I would take that position in order to save other people and help them, but why the fuck would I want to be a dictator? Honestly, it's going to be an unforgiving job. Just saying. We've seen it before. The local Wendigo. I saw a video yesterday of someone boiling steak and candy corn, enjoying I don't even want to read the rest of that. That's just sickening. That's a terrible idea. Boiling a steak with candy corn? Oh, God. I am officially sickened. Please excuse me while I vomit. Just joking, but yeah, that definitely upsets my stomach slightly. Yeah. So let's get to the sponsors first here. We'll get to the Epstein files in a moment, because that's the big news of the day. It's pretty much all anyone's talking about. We have cultivated-mind.com, where you can get mushroom pills. You can also get doggy dose, which I call doggo dose, of course. So you and your pupperino, and probably cats would eat it too, I guess if you crumbled it up into smaller bits or something. You and your doggo friends, and possibly kitty friends, can enjoy better health. Yes, indeed. It increases energy, vitality, and so forth. I happen to be pilled up a little bit right now. There's a reason for this. We have BiltongUSA.com. Anton can give you all sorts of meat. He's also got imports like Bovrite, Marmite, Vegemite, things of that nature. Plenty of food is available. You've got Wagyu, you've got venison, you've got bison, Cabernet, Angus, pretty much everything under the sun. And also Stick, Sex, and Hammer mugs, tumblers, and shirts are available as well. And then we have jamandbean.com, JAMNbean.com. Oh yeah, the smell of clanker coffee. The smell of coffee in the morning, so to speak. It's some good stuff. Lots of teas available. You've got Yunnan Jig if you want something with caffeine. Plenty of herbal tisane teas if you want something more like a green tea, so it's not really caffeinated. And various herbal blends as well. Some of them are better than others, but all of them are good. So you can pretty much take your pick. Tarred and Feathered. Clank Blend is a superior roast. True. Yes, indeed. There was a reason why this was the particular blend that I chose. Because Jam and Bean sent me 3 different prototype coffees. And I tried them all. And this was the one that I chose. This was by far the best. The other ones were good. It's just that the first one was a little bit too dark. And the last one, the third one, was a little bit too light. This one sort of fit in that perfect coffee category, and so that's the one that I chose. Mulgera, I saw that fat tub of shit Randy Fine in person yesterday, which was disgusting. I'm amazed that fatso's gravitational pull didn't pull me from the gallery. Ha! Oh my god. The Wanderer, Sticks. When National Socialists take over this country, you will be spared. I don't need anyone to spare me. If anyone gets in my way, I'll just kill him. Does not matter who tries to take over. Mystery Train. Sticks accepts corporate money. Business money, yes. I think you'll find that these companies are small businesses. Not interested in, like, partnering with Walmart or something like that. Hey, guys! Have you seen the new little robot that Walmart is offering? Mulgera, I also saw Jerry Nadler waddling on the house floor. Did he shit himself? Dude looked like he shat himself. Oh, and also seeing that old witch-looking bitch with the purple hair? Gross. Yeah, Nadler probably did poop himself. He's done it before. We've got evidence of this, so it's oh my god. I hope you got footage of that. You should definitely put it online. Yeah, the dude definitely pooped himself that one time. That was absolutely him trying to hold in the shit in order to, get off stage and go away. That was definitely a poo-poo moment. It's funny when some people, by the way, they deny that and they say, no, he had a spell or something like that. No, he pooped himself. Come on. He clearly shit his pants. Epstein files bill to be sent to Trump after approval from Congress. It was near unanimous in both the House and Senate, so Trump is not going to block this. He knows that if he tries to, number one, he'd be insane, and number two, it would get overridden. So he's going to vote in favor of this. I believe that's scheduled for, well, an hour and a half from now. Actually, I believe it's at 2 p.m. that there's supposed to be a signing ceremony. Now, I do have some reservations about this. I believe in releasing the Epstein files. That much is quite clear. The American public wants it. Congress wants it. Trump now wants it. Everyone wants it. There's no reason to hold them back. The problem is that I fear that it will be selectively edited, because the Democrats have been releasing a number of slurries of, redacted material from the Epstein files over the last months. And effectively, it's literally nothing more than Orange Man bad. What I would tell Trump to do, like, let's say I was in the White House right now, and I had 10 minutes of his undivided attention. I'd say you need to go on TV right now, go live before you do anything with the bill, and say, I want to release the Epstein files. Reiterate that to the American public. I want to release them, but they're not actually releasing the full Epstein files. This bill is moronic because it's actually so heavily redacted. And it's been selectively redacted, and we all know that that's going to happen. So simply tell the American people, look, I want to release them, but I need a different bill from the House. It can move forward literally tomorrow. It will take very little time. I am going to declassify literally everything in there and just release it verbatim. There will be no pulled punches, and, everyone can be judged as is based on what's in those files. Lorraine Psycho, Congress.gov is still telling me it hasn't gone to the Senate yet. No, the Senate did pass it. It was almost unanimous. Government can't even get a website right. Yeah, this is the other problem. We've got problems within the news cycle because a lot of these sites, they don't really, keep up. Mulgera, unfortunately, I wasn't able to take my phone into the gallery. There was so much clown shit I wish I could have caught on film. Yeah, they were probably all drunk, too. Boehner mentioned that at one point. Spike, the Clanker blend is the Goldilocks of coffee. Not too dark, not too light, but just right. Also, fuck Randy Fine. He was supposed to be pushing a judicial accountability bill and never did. The Clanker blend... Oh, you said that twice. The local Wendigo. I heard Bondi will have the final say in reactions. If anything is blocked again, it's that cunt's fault. Considering the unanimity with which the vote was held, I don't think that that's going to happen. I don't think that that's going to be a problem at all. Heavy Gun. Orange Man said he would sign it if it made it to his desk. And indeed, it's going to go to his desk. Yes, he'll sign it because, when you have, what was it? In total in Congress, I think there were 5 no votes between the House and Senate. So it's absolutely meaningless. If you have that level of bipartisan support, you're going to have to sign the bill. What I would advise Trump to do, though, is go before the American people, literally in the next hour, address them, say, look, we're going to release the Epstein files, but they're going to be selective. I'm going to be working to release them completely unredacted. He can outflank Chuck Schumer, who quite clearly is playing games at this point with the fucking bill. They've been trying to mark Donald Trump as some terrible pervert now for months and months, despite the fact that if you understand anything about the history of the situation, Trump is one of the more unimpeachable figures within the, pun intended by the way, one of the more unimpeachable figures within this situation. So you ban Jeffrey Epstein from your properties, disown him, cut off all contact, and then give, actual testimony against him. That doesn't sound like the kind of person who was diddling kids. It sounds like the kind of person who was being vengeful towards Epstein, because Epstein was coming into the Mar-a-Lago along with Ghislaine Maxwell and trying to recruit college-age girls to go to Little Rape Island. That's basically what they did. Now, again, that's not pedophilia. These are college-age girls. Although we know that Epstein liked them a little bit younger at times. That being said, I think that Donald Trump was personally offended. Hey, you're trying to steal my employees. What gives? So he had a reason to throw Epstein under the bus. I have a feeling he was pissed, actually. He's not the sort of person that you want to steal employees from. Mulgera, Clay Higgins was the only fucker across both the House and the Senate who didn't vote for the release of the files. Dude should have his hard drive searched. Yeah, we're going to have to look into that, actually, as well, because that is a little bit weird. I can't understand why you wouldn't vote for the release of the Epstein files. I realize that it's flawed. The release will be cherry-picked and so forth, but you can address that later. All you have to do is pick your battles. Trump appears to understand this. I think Mike Johnson does too, although he was clearly rankled at being, outflanked by Schumer. The other members of Congress, though, they all voted in favor of it. Maybe we'll find out inexplicably that most members of Congress, they're not interested in deviated pre-versions. By the way, watch that movie, Dr. Strangelove. Ninja 0808, are you going to address the federal judges blocking new Texas congressional map? Did they have the vote today? Let me look it up. Oh, yeah, wonderful. Of course they would. Meanwhile, of course, in California, the court sides with the state and says that nothing's wrong with that. I'll have to look into that. I'll be covering that probably tomorrow. But right now, we're mainly talking about the incoming Epstein file vote. It has passed the House and Senate. Now we're basically waiting on Donald Trump. It might be done as early as this afternoon. So we're basically on watch for that. Because I think they mentioned 2 p.m. actually. So that'd be an hour and a half from now. Spike. The Clanker blend is the Goldilocks of coffee. Not too dark, not too light, but just right. Also, fuck Randy Fine. You've posted that several times. Mulgera. Johnson was pissed that the Senate didn't amend Massey's bill. That cunt wanted loopholes so he could protect pedos. It's his pastime, apparently. Yeah, see, that's the problem. The bill, as it stands right now, is useful, but not perfect. I think that the American public needs to see the entire unredacted files, because it's quite clear that at the topmost level of government, corporations, banks, and so forth, shady shit was going on. I think that we have a right to know what exactly went on. Just saying, that's just my own personal opinion as a taxpayer. U.S. Treasury's last 5 minted pennies may spark multi-million-dollar bidding war. Yes, indeed. The penny is no longer in existence. It'll still be legal tender, but they're not going to make any more of them. Thankfully, I got all sorts of pennies. I've got them right down here. Let me show you my pirate booty. Arr, matey. Arr, yeah. Plenty of pennies in there. Hundreds of them. I like them. I like collecting coins. Just saying. So, yeah, the penny is being discontinued because they realized, originally, decades ago, it's like, okay, it takes 2 cents to make a cent. And it's like, okay, but you can justify it because people make chains and shit. But now it's gotten to the point where a penny is almost as expensive as the value of a nickel. And so that became a little bit of a problem now, didn't it? Keep in mind, all these coins are made mainly of zinc now. About the least valuable metal that you can possibly use. They are plated, effectively, with a little bit of copper and or a little bit of silver. Otherwise, they're nothing more than a chunk of zinc. They're effectively worthless. This is a sad situation, by the way, because I can remember collecting, like, Mercury dimes and Eisenhower dollars and stuff back in the day. Things that actually had numismatic value. Some of those are worth a really, really great amount of money at this point. Now, if you got an Eisenhower dollar, it's worth more than $1. A Mercury dime is definitely worth more than 10 cents. Technically, it's still legal tender. I remember fondly one time I went into the pharmacy, right? And I wanted some Legos. And I had a shit ton of $2 bills, which I don't believe are struck anymore either. And I got a Lego set entirely in $2 bills. And the woman that was running it, she's dead now, sadly. The pharmacy no longer exists. At first, didn't believe it was legal tender. It took some explaining. It was pretty funny. Mulgera, the penny being discontinued is tangible proof of the horrific devaluation of the dollar. Agreed. All fiat currency goes to zero eventually, but it ain't good to see that trajectory in real time. Yeah, it is a problem because when you get to the point where the penny costs 4 cents, that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Sense, quite literally. Pun not intended in that case. The nickel is still kind of viable. The quarter is, the dime certainly is, but for some reason, I mean, the penny needed to be phased out probably 20 years ago, so it doesn't really make a lot of sense to keep it around. What are you supposed to use it for? They don't sell penny candy anymore. Now it's nickel candy. Fred Duniali, Sticks, I had 10 Susan B. Anthony dollars that a store would not take. Well, you should have complained, legally speaking, because that is still legal currency in the United States. Arc, $3 candy. Yeah, you're gonna need a lot of nickels. You can still go to like old-timey stores and shit like that and pay like a quarter and get a peppermint patty or something. But other than that, those days are unfortunately long gone. I can remember doing that when I was a kid. I'd go, again, to the pharmacy, and they sold candy and toys and things like that. I had a fun time, let me tell you. Even though I was a poor kid, you know, you could still afford a peppermint patty or a Reese's cup or something like that. They don't do that anymore. It's just not a thing. Like, you look at, like, a sleeve of Reese's. What the fuck does it cost now? Like $1.90 or something like that? It makes absolutely no sense either. You could stabilize the currency. It is possible to do so. It's just there's no will to actually try. What we're going to need, though, is a deflationary economy for an extended period of time. If we don't get that, then, you know, the cost is going to continue to rise ahead of wages, by the way. So people are going to be paying like, you know, $100 back in the 90s would buy you a shit ton of food. You're going to pack that grocery cart. Go to the grocery store right now and spend $100. You're not packing a cart. Not unless you're buying the lowest common denominator sort of products, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with preparing your own food. As long as you get the herbs and the salt and stuff, you can make some tasty stuff. But for the most part, many of those foods are prohibitively expensive at this point. Like, I used to get these burritos when I was a kid. Tina's burritos, the beef and bean ones. I never really liked the chicken ones or the spicy ones. I just liked the regular beef and bean. If I remember correctly, when I was a child, they were about 45 cents a piece. They're about $1.99 now. The only close approximation that I've been able to find is these cheap-ass chimichangas, which are good, don't get me wrong, I will eat them from time to time, but it's not exactly the same. Also, the fucking burritos suck ass now. I don't know exactly how they've changed their recipe, but, ew, yeah, they get a little bit on the dry side, dude. Mulgera, deflation is a very good thing. Deflation combined with pegging our currency to something tangible would also be good, gold, silver, or crypto. I do not believe in pegging the currency because all of those things can be traded. That allows another country, if it has a large enough economy, to fuck with your currency. But yes, having a deflationary economy at the moment would be relatively good. Just saying. How much are ramen noodles? I'm not 100% sure. Those are still relatively cheap, but I can't digest them, so it doesn't help me. Helmet Dork, frozen burritos suck. No, they don't. I actually like the old frozen burritos. It's just Tina's burritos changed the recipe. The chimichangas are good. I mean, they're also cheap, like they're 50 cents a piece or something like that. So I still do buy them sometimes. I do not care if it's, cheap processed food. It's called survival. Viking Woman 1988. Someone posted an interesting article called The Truth About Pepe the Frog and the Cult of Kek on poll earlier today. Is Moon Man back? Well, he never left. Bobby Bobbinson. Sticks, what alcohol are you drinking today? Tea, actually. The Wanderer seems to think that I'm posting as Bobby Bobbinson. I have no clue what's going on half of the time. This is why I love making content creation. Everything's pure chaos. I'm just waiting for Thanksgiving because I really need me some stuffing. Yeah, I can't really digest ramen noodles. I used to eat the Oriental ones when I was a kid, and I enjoyed it. But my body has developed an incessant desire to avoid them. Dan Wilkinson, what's really in those so-called burritos? Probably toxic waste or something like that. It still tastes alright. Spike, remember that scene in Home Alone when Kevin bought a whole cart for $20? Yes, imagine going to the store and you have 20 or 30 bucks and you get an entire grocery cart full of food. Those days are long gone. These days at $20, it won't even buy you a couple of meals. Celestial, $100 won't fill a cart with the rice and ramen today. Yeah, there are ways to cut corners, but I mean, the prices are just so out of my mind. They're so completely wild. I don't even know why people are putting up with it, actually, at this point. It's like, yeah, people can get healthy food. If they're willing to pay $500-600 or something like that for the week. Mulgara, by the way, those House of Representatives office buildings are confusing as fuck. I was wandering around like a tard for a while. I also saw Pelosi's office and audibly laughed. Ha! Annal Inn. At least eggs and milk are cheap again. Yeah, I did notice that. The egg prices come way down. This is good, by the way. I bought a dozen the other day. I'm going to turn them into deviled eggs. Already got the mustard. Already got dill and paprika. Already got mayonnaise. So, yeah, haha, look out, stomach, here it comes. The ingratitude of the well-fed. We need to cultivate an appreciation for the abundance that modernity has bestowed instead of taking it for granted. This is a counterblast to what I was just saying, by the way. This article is particularly about, hey, because of the technology we've got in the West, food scarcity is considerably lower. Correct. But food pricing, unfortunately, as of the last few years, has become considerably higher. So you don't have food scarcity in the sense of the production, that is, the actual supply side. What you have is a scarcity of people's ability to actually buy that food. I was surprised, for example, when I went to the orchard. This is years ago. This is, I don't know, 2018 or something like that. Went to an orchard. And, picking your own apples, that's not expensive. So that's not a problem. But they had like a little convenience there. They had made their own dill pickles and stuff like that, which I love. I love pickles. Everyone knows this. And they were like $7.99. I can't even fathom what their cost would be now. What is it, $10.99 or something like that? Definitely $7.99 is no longer doing it. You're going to pay that for the cheap-ass pickles in the store. And then that was for like a 1.5 pint, amount of pickles. And at the time I had sticker shock. But now I go to the store, I go to even the low-end store, and I experience exactly the same thing. And the price is actually considerably higher. Nordic pagan soldier is calling people cocksuckers over on Rumble. My goodness, my friend. Bookworm addict. I want a chestnut and crabapple tree. We've got both on the property. The centerpiece of the entire lawn is a crabapple tree. And there are several chestnut trees and several walnut trees. Can't do anything with the walnuts because I'm allergic to them, by the way. Yillin, do you make your own pickles or just buy? When I have a better setup, I'm going to be making a shit ton of pickles. I made pickled beets once before and they were spectacular. Total 10 out of 10. I have made pickles before. In 1 year, we might have had 300 pints of pickles, actually. Like, we had a bumper crop of cucumbers. Like, what are we going to do with them? You can't eat them all fresh. You have to chop them up into pieces and then pickle them. My mom was working for days, actually, when that happened. I mean, they kept coming in. I don't know how many fucking cucumber plants we had. It was an enormous amount, though. We had dill. We had sweet. We had bread and butter, sort of the semi-sweet ones. We had curried pickles, which I thought were delicious. And you should have seen Dad going through those. He was a big fan. The curried pickles were great. We had pickled carrots. We had pickled beets. It was just, we had 2 gigantic shelves that were completely filled with the pickling jars. And we were eating on them for over a year, actually. Bobby Bobbinson. All the Austrian painter wanted was more space for his people, mein Lebensraum, and to secure the existence of the white European nationalities. Yeah, people don't know a lot about Hitler. Basically, all they're told in school is, he was an evil German. He wasn't even from Germany, dude. He was from Austria. Randall Flag. Sticks, you cook and garden quite a bit and are quite fond of food, yet are so lean. How many calories a day do you eat? I gain weight simply by looking at a cake. I have to force myself on a caloric deficit. I never eat sweets. If I want something sweet, a little bit of fruit is fine. Mostly I eat nothing more than dairy products, green vegetables, and things like that. Or, like tomato pasta or something. And then, of course, red meat. I'll eat like ribeye or something. The funny thing is, if you go to the Netherlands, the ribeye steaks are going to be half the price. I don't know exactly why this is. Inflation in the United States has really taken a toll. Ministry of Wrongthink. I predict the release will largely be another AI Al Capone vault with a few sacrificial lambs. I think that you're right on this. Trump will say it's done now, then Dems will pull more docs in their ass to make Trump look bad. Theater. He can get out ahead of him, though. He has the unilateral ability to declassify literally everything and release them verbatim. And that's exactly what I believe that he should do. Randall Flag. Sticks is paleo. Not quite. I do eat carbs and things like that. It's just I don't eat as much of them as the average person. I like a good Spanish rice or something like that. Certainly I like potatoes. And sometimes you have a sandwich. I just really lean towards my body digests dairy products and green vegetables more well than it digests anything else. And third to that would be red meat, like ribeye or something like that. I also do well with fish. It's just a lot of the fish I don't really like. So I try to balance my diet. I will eat carbs. It's not that I forsake them, so it's not technically a paleo diet. It's just that I limit them. So, the FDA used to tell you should have like 9 servings a day of Wonder Bread or something like that. That never really made a lot of sense. A couple of servings of rice or potatoes or something like that, that's really all you need. It is good to get carbs though. It's just most people, they eat a shit ton of carbs. And I like eggs. It's good that the cost of those has gone down. Ah, King of Biltong is here. Hello, King of Biltong. Hello, Anton, my old friend. That means we gotta eat some both right. It is necessary. When Anton gets in, it gives me an excuse. Well, that works for me. That's the one that still has a little bit of the Chinese 5 spices in it. When I'm mixed it actually. It's really good. Anton, you should try that. Take some Chinese 5 spices and put a few pinches in some of the bovrite, and then mix it up and use that in your cooking. It works really, really well. Rabatha, wait, I missed the licking. Well, if you're into that, of course I can do it again. Just saying. Sometimes I like to be a little bit pervy. Yeah. The Wanderer. Bobby, you should have seen his stream 2 days ago. Absolutely unhinged. I'm assuming that you're not talking about me, because I do not believe that I was, actually. Girl of the Valley and Rabbith are, I guess, orgasming. Having orgasms over Bovrite. Anton, my man, you've created problem. 40,000-year-old woolly mammoth RNA offers a peek into its last moments. RNA sequences from the mammoth, named Yucca, are the oldest ever reported. Yes, the oldest RNA has been extracted from effectively what amounts to a freeze-dried, like literally dehydrated dead baby mammoth. And before it was 14,000 years, now it's about 40,000. And when they looked into the RNA, here's the thing. RNA is the expression of the DNA. It can last quite a while, actually, apparently tens of thousands of years. This was something that they, I do not believe, considered until fairly recently. And what we found out about this mammoth is that it was under stress when it died, was probably being predated upon, definitely froze to death. We know that because it's literally freeze-dried. You look at a picture of it, it looks a little bit more messed up than the average animal carcass now, doesn't it? Apparently, by the way, there was no actual case where humans ate mammoth meat. This was something that I always thought was true when I was a kid. I was told that back in the 50s and 60s a few times that scientists had actually eaten mammoth meat. It turns out that that never actually happened. They were eating turtle meat. Although there are sporadic reports that sometimes a dead mammoth is, pulled out of the permafrost, and if it's still, remotely edible, that people up in, Siberia, they'll eat them. So it's entirely likely that modern humans have eaten mammoth, just not those particular incidents that we were told of as kids. Which saddened me, because I thought that that was exciting. I'm like, hey, how much do I have to pay for a mammoth burger? Ah, King of Biltong, I'm loading equipment off my trailer into the production facility. Excellent news. Turtle's Toy Box. Lol. Go back and watch your own video, Sticks. You're clearly hammered. No, I don't believe so, actually. No, I mean, I'm not drinking at this time of day. Unless you mean my tea. Or the pickled beet juice. I had that yesterday, and I really, really wish that I had like 5 or 6 more jars of it. Because for some reason, I'm obsessed with pickled beets. I would love to make more of my own. Cater Willis. Who cares if he drinks? Yeah, I mean, if you're drinking tea, then I understand. King of Biltong. Premium Biltong from Biltong, USA. High protein, keto friendly, no additives, US sourced beef, authentic South African flavor. Get some now at www.biltongusa.com. Use code STICKS for 10% off. That's what I'm talking about. Joel Wagner, tea spiked with tea, actually. You've got to understand, because of Jam and Bean, and Anton sends tea too, I have a shit ton of it. You can put it right through the coffee filter, by the way. The Yunnan Jig gives you some caffeine. You've got the Dezane herbal teas, and so forth. It's delicious. Mike Oglesby, try pickled watermelon? What? Oh god, I don't even want to think about this abomination. I'm trying to think of the flavor profile, and I'm thinking about vomiting. That's not a good idea. Michael Gillespie, dude, it's real. They literally make pickled watermelon? Alright, I'm gonna avoid it. I can't eat watermelon anyway, and I definitely don't want it pickled. Just saying. Miranda Devine, FBI, Secret Service butchered the Thomas Crooks case and invited conspiracies. We deserve the truth. This is something I have noticed that has been memory hold. You almost had a mainline presidential candidate killed. He was shot in the ear. He almost got brained as a result of this. But we know very, very little about the actual case behind this. What we know is that Crooks apparently originally, years ago, was fairly pro-Trump. At some point, he flipped. He did a 180. And then he started talking about how Trump was a terrible person and all of these other things. I have a feeling that he got blackpilled, and then apparently he was in communication with paganistic neo-Nazis in Norway or something, and he was on the government's radar this entire time. This does not surprise me at all. That's the only unsurprising part of the story. We see this over and goddamn over. Somebody who is openly proclaiming that they want to do terroristic acts is completely ignored by the legal system. The FBI doesn't look into it. They'll monitor the situation. Secret Service doesn't seem to give a shit. Capitol Police don't give a shit. The local police don't give a shit. The stadies don't give a shit. The sheriff's office doesn't give a shit. We've seen this over and over. We saw this, for instance, with the Boston Marathon bombing. The Tsarnaev brothers, they were already on the radar of multiple intel groups. They were told 2 years before it happened, hey, you know, these dudes are going to pop off at some point. Hey, look, here's a Facebook post where he's openly praising Osama bin Laden. They were told this openly. They chose to ignore the intel. Said, yeah, they're buying, pressure cookers and nails. They're probably just trying to make a dinner. Now, of course, a good pressure cooker is a good addition to your kitchen. But when you're also praising Osama bin Laden, and you've been to Chechnya and been for several years, obviously rambled to by terrorists, then when you buy a pressure cooker, maybe that's something that needs to be looked into just a little bit. But they never did that. And so it wasn't surprising to me when I looked through the Cook saga, and I looked at this and I'm like, okay, well, it was on the radar. They knew that this person might show up. They're openly making threats with regards to not just this event, but in general. and you didn't have an outer ring of security or something like that, and you can't even go onto a roof with a 15-degree incline, despite the fact that there's a 30-degree incline on the roof on the other side that was clearly manned. They did this because they wanted Trump to die. I fully believe that the reason that there are so many questions in this case is the result of them attempting to have Donald Trump killed. I think that they didn't want him to be running. They wanted to get rid of him. And that's why, things are going the way they are today as well. I have a feeling that there was a coordinated effort in this particular case. You may say that it's a conspiracy theory. I don't believe that. I think that things line up in such a massive order. There's no way to simply blame a conspiracy theory for what happened on that particular day in Butler, in Pennsylvania. God damn, people are still talking about pickled watermelon. No, thank you. Ballcraft, I was fed posting with his real name. Yes, exactly. Yeah, we're not sure if that's a Fed asset that was then taken out, or whether it was just somebody crazy and the Feds were like, let him take the shot and we'll hope for the best. I think it's probably the latter. I don't think that they attempted to orchestrate a Donald Trump assassination. What I think happened is they were aware of the fact that Crooks wanted to take the shot. And so they cleared way, effectively. We're not going to do it, because that would be a big problem now, wouldn't it? But we will clear the way so that he has an open shot. I think that that's pretty substantially evinced in this particular case. I have a feeling that they wanted him dead. Bookworm Addict. My mother said pickled watermelon is very good. Yeah, I'm not going to try that. I will vomit all over myself. Occult Priestess. Crook's Black Rock commercial. Yeah, it could be something connected to that. I have a feeling that the powers that be simply allowed him to take the shot. They didn't finance him, they didn't give him the ammo or anything like that, but they knew that this crazy kid is probably going to show up at this rally. Let's clear the way for him. Let's make sure that there's a place that he can perch and hopefully take the shot. That's what I think happened. Yes. Ark, he flew a drone during a 30-minute lapse in aerial security. Exactly, there's nothing suspicious about this. That makes perfect sense, right? It's only the President of the United States would be. Copium Poppies is saying dog shit over and over. This happens all of the time. Why is everyone saying dog shit? I don't know what's happening, everyone. I'm trying to figure it out. Bondage Spider. I will never believe that these lone wolves all started taking shots at Trump the second the establishment started losing. Agreed. What I think they did was basically they knew that there was a threat and they chose consciously to ignore it. They may not have whipped him up into a frenzy, although legacy media propaganda certainly helps, but they definitely stood aside. It's incredible. Trump literally turned at exactly the right moment to avoid getting brained. Unfortunately, there were several casualties, serious injuries and one death. But Trump managed to survive because he was referring to a goddamn graphic. That was a very interesting moment, actually. Aurora Sonic Reactor. Pickled watermelon equals pineapple on pizza. Gross. No, pineapple on pizza is actually good, though. Pickled watermelon sounds like, somebody needs to suffer in hell as a result of having done this. Inland Surfer. Grilled watermelon. Bizarrely tastes just like steak. Yeah, I'll skip that one, too. Copium Poppies. No, we said shit dog in response to those saying dog shit. Oh, okay. Nikki Haley's vagina. That is all, says Copium Poppies. Probably an alright vagina. David Ford, 67p. He sent 199. Thank you very much. Michael Cricklow, have you read Mary Shelley's Frankenstein or Bram Stoker's Dracula? If so, which novel do you prefer? Dracula. The new Frankenstein on Netflix is terrible, in my honest opinion. The good Dracula is the one from, I believe it was 92. And Annie Lennox did the music for that. And it was a great movie, actually. Anthony Hopkins actually was in it. Taco Woman Sandy Ravage. Bondi said that the files will be redacted. Well, that's not a surprise. Anyway, I'm going to go offline now, because we've gone off an hour. I need to lay in wait to see if we get, like, closure with regards to the Epstein files. I do have a couple of other things here that I was going to talk about, but I don't have time for that, so I'll have to get to some of those tomorrow, potentially, and others I may include in videos later. I may end up having to do a couple more videos, actually, today, because there was a lot of news. It's just I can't get to it all. I was holding things over from the other day. It's a big problem. Aurora Sonic Reactor. Early Eurythmics is great. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, Annie Lennox may be woke as fuck, but she's definitely a talented artist. Copium Poppies. Elon Musk is a piece of dog shit. Appealed twice, denied twice. If they are non-compliant with the current appeal, we're filing a chargeback on our year's subscription. That is something like, imagine you get banned from a site, but you've already paid them a bunch of money in order to do something under the sun. I don't understand how that's legal. Cooking Inferno. Pickled watermelon, round and salted cantaloupe are classic Haverford Country Club items. Fucking gross. With cantaloupe I can see it working. I can't deal with watermelon. Bowser, head teacher. Europe, Erwach. We end up talking about food like almost every live stream. But yeah, I'm going to go offline. I do need to docket a little bit of additional work, and I need to keep in mind the Epstein stream. So if anything happens with that, I might go live again, actually, because that's fairly important news. It's just not 100% sure whether the signing is going to happen today. So I'm going to keep my eye on it when I'm, going to the TV, which I hate using. I'm going to keep my eye on it, and we shall see, my friend. In the meantime, I have to docket more news. That's about all. Peace out.